Alright guys, you're back listening to my therapeutic voice, and in this video we're going to talk about custom tuning. So there are two different types of tunes that you can run on your B58. The first one, and what most people run, is called off the shelf, or OTS, and really that just means that the tuning platform you're using is offering a bunch of generic maps that should work for pretty much all cars, and it's based on a specific fuel type and certain modifications that will allow you to enjoy additional horsepower and torque without needing to spend any extra money. The other kind of tune is a custom tune, and when you get a custom tune, you're using one of the tuners in their tuner network to fully dial in your car based on your specific setup. So whatever fuel quality you have, whatever modifications you have, you can dial it in specifically for that setup and get the most out of the car, get the most consistency, reliability, and basically just the best performance. Now, most people run OTS maps, especially on stock turbo, because it's cheaper. You know, you don't need to pay any extra money. And also the gains when you have the same mods are typically pretty minimal. But if you have a specific fuel, like you're using port injection or meth injection, or even on the opposite end, maybe your fuel is really poor quality, and you're getting a lot of timing corrections and knock on the OTS maps, you can get a custom tune to properly dial in your setup. And of course, when you get a bigger turbo or something that isn't supported by an OTS map, you can get more power, more torque, and better reliability all around. Now, the steps to getting a custom tune are pretty simple, but like I said, spending the extra money makes people a lot more nervous about it, and it's understandable. You're basically paying double the price of your OTS maps just to get one specific tune for one specific setup. So you want to make sure you get it done right the first time. So the first thing I recommend doing, and the first thing I ask people when they are inquiring about custom tuning, is to pick your setup. Figure out what you want to run, figure out what fuel quality you want, what horsepower you want to hit, and basically all of your goals. And that'll dictate how everything else happens in the process. I made some other videos to kind of help you figure out, fuel upgrades and turbo upgrades and things like that. Typically, I don't recommend getting a custom tune until you get a turbo upgrade, but whatever the case may be, if you're out to, get the stock turbo record, just figure out what your plans are, and that'll help make the whole entire process a lot more simple. Now, the next thing you want to do is pick a custom tuner. I'll just get this out of the way right now. I will not compare custom tuners. I will not tell you who is better than who. What I will do is recommend a set of tuners for each tuning platform and allow you to kind of do the rest to pick which one you want to work with. But I'll only recommend ones that have a good track record that I've seen make good power, and either I myself or people I know have had good success with them. So when you're picking a custom tuner, of course, you need to make sure that you're picking one that works with your tuning platform. Sometimes people just really want to work with a specific tuner, and that will motivate them to switch platforms so that they can get a new tuner. But for the most part, I typically recommend just picking a tuner that's on your platform. And the next thing you want to do is reach out to them. So message all the people that you're interested in, tell them your goals, your setup, and just work with them to figure out who can help you reach your goals and who has good communication. I know communication is something that people probably don't focus on a lot, but it's very, very important when you're getting a custom tune. Now, keep in mind, all good tuners are busy. No matter what, they're going to have a lot of business, a lot of cars, and a lot of different platforms that they're working with at the same time. So if somebody doesn't get back to you right away, don't take it personally. No, it doesn't mean that they're not a good tuner. But sometimes, depending on when you reach out to them, especially if there are big events coming up, they can be extremely busy. And that's just a good sign that maybe they're not the ones to work with at that time. So pick one that has good communication and one that can help you reach your goals, and that'll help make sure that you have the best experience possible. Then the last thing you're going to do is actually go through the tuning process. So your tuner will send you a base map, and this is supposed to be kind of like a low power map just to get you started, keep everything safe, and make sure that you can drive around on it if you need to and kind of get a good baseline understanding of how the car responds to the tune. Now, there are two different ways that you can do this. You can either do a dyno tune or street tuning. Dyno tuning is recommended for people that don't have a lot of space, they want to keep it safe, and they want things to happen quickly, because you can get a dyno tune done in a couple hours. What you're going to do is hop on the dyno, rent it out at your local shop. They'll put you on the rollers and do a pull on the baseline map. And you'll run a log at the same time so that you can take that data and send it to your tuner. And then your tuner will make an adjustment to the map and send you a new revision so that you can flash it onto the car and do another set of dyno pulls. Every pull that you do, you're going to run logs, send it to your tuner. They'll make an adjustment and send it back to you. And that's how you do the custom tuning process They'll slowly ramp things up everywhere you have space to try to get the best blend of power and reliability. And then after that, you're done. Now, the other option is street tuning. It does require you to get to pretty high speeds on the road, and it can be somewhat dangerous, but it's the best way to get a good representation of what your car will actually experience when you're driving. Sometimes when you do dyno tunes and you get the car on the road, it has some unexpected responses to driving around. So it might need some fine tuning on the street. But if you do street tuning, typically you can get that out of the way from the jump. So for street tuning, it'll be the same thing. You'll do some pulls on the highway, send the data to your tuner, and they'll make an adjustment to the map and send it back to you. Now, just kind of plan on this taking longer. It can take 24 to 48 hours. Sometimes I've even seen up to a week to get a new revision of a tune. It's not really the end of the world. Again, everybody's busy. Now, if your map is doing something unexpected, like it's cutting fuel or whatever, having wonky response that you don't want to drive on it while you're waiting for a revision, typically you can just flash to an OTS map and drive that in the meanwhile until you get the updated revision. So don't feel like your car necessarily has to get stuck just because a revision isn't dialed in fully. Now, another option that's pretty rare but works for people that are really dedicated to motorsports is obviously logging in the conditions where you're going to be racing. So you can log while you're running laps, you can log while you're going down the drag strip. If it's a car that you really just want dialed in for that specific purpose, you can definitely run logs in that case. And again, finding a tuner that's willing to work with you and read those logs and dial it in for your specific purpose will make sure that you have the best experience. And after that, you'll be done. So you'll have your car dialed in. Typically, a tuner will support their file for like 6 to 12 months. So you can get free map updates if, for example, you tune your car in the winter and it starts, having a weird response or issue in the summer. They can make additional updates and revisions to help dial things in, but don't expect to get free updates as you make additional modifications. So if you want to run a different type of fuel, like add E85 or meth, you upgrade your turbo, whatever the case may be, that'll typically be additional cost. Also, if you have additional controllers that need to be dialed in by the tuner, make sure you're getting one that they work with, and whatever your port injection, meth injection, or external boost controller, whatever it might be, get that set up with them, and that'll also typically be an additional cost as well. So I hope this helps explain the process. Like I said, I'll put a list of recommended tuners down in the description, and I'll update it as I get more information or see more feedback from other tuners as well. And if you have any other questions or comments, leave them down below. Thanks.